Om. 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 Om Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gaganasadrisham Tattvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Satgurum Tam Namami Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Hariom.
We completed till that.
I think verse number 14 or 15 we had stopped. I think 17 also. Shanai Shanai Ruparamit was done.
This we had done the Mandukya Upanishad shloka.
Correct. So from here we can start. Yeah, from verse number 22.
That is from chapter 6, 29. From Dwichatvarimshat verse 22. And from our Bhagavad Gita 29. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Sarvabhutasthamatmanam sarvabhutani chatmani ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshanaha. By means of yoga, nididhyasana, the one who cognizes the samavastu, Atma, perceives himself in every being and perceives all beings in oneself. Like it was said in the 7th mantra of the Mandukya Upanishad, Atma is Prapancho Pashamam. Prapancho Pashamam. Ekatma Pratyaya Saram. Advaitam. Prapancho Pashamam Ekatma Pratyaya Saram Advaitam. When one directly knows this fact, and naturally only the Samavastu, this Atma, only is available for perception to and no.
Jai Gurudev Bela.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, there is. Is Suma able to chant, take over for some time at least? 10,
Sure.
15 minutes.
Yeah, super. Dhanyavad, Sumaji. You can do from the beginning, from the translation of the verse, I believe, right?
Yeah. Take it. By means of yoga, nididhyasana, the one who cognizes the samavastu atma perceives himself in every being and perceives all being in oneself. Like it was said in the 7th mantra of the Mandukya Upanishad, Atma is prapancho pashamam. Prapancho pashamam.
Prapanchopashamam ekatma, yeah. Prapanchopashamam ekatma pratyaya saram advaitam.
Yeah. When one directly knows this fact, then naturally only the samavastu atma, that is atma, only is available for perception to that one, and no other thing or being is available for cognition for such a person. Even the world, its beings, its vagaries, its buffeting nature, all these will present themselves to that samadarshinaha as mere sequences in a dream, and as such dismissed. Then there is no great effort required by that person to see oneself in all and all in oneself. It becomes so natural to that person to perceive thus that the person cannot see another. Thus, it is said that a jnani, when in front of an ajnani, indeed sees a jnani, because the jnani naturally knows that the ajnani is in essence a jnani. Only difference being that the ajnani does not yet know it. Whenever a devotee queried Bhagavan Ramana's disposition towards that devotee, would have been like a jnani seeing a jnani in an ajnani, because sarvatra samadarshinaha. That is why sometimes, however silly the question was, Bhagavan Ramana's answer was always beneficial and sublime. Would not such a verse be dear to the Samadarshanaha? Thus ends the message of part 2. Thus ends the first Shatka, 6 chapters of the Gita. The message of part 3, verse 23, chapter 7, 17th shloka in the Bhagavad Gita. You have to raise this.
Yeah, so it's from Dwichatvarimshat, verse 23, and from Bhagavad Gita, 17 verse, from chapter 7. My voice will be breaking, kindly forgive me. I'll just chant. Tesham gnani nityayuktah ekabhakti priyo hi gnaninottha Tesham gnani nityayuktah ekabhaktirvishishyate priyo hi gnaninotyartham aham sacha mama priyah.
Among them, the jnani, ever integrated, excels with his unshakable devotion. I am very dear to the jnani, and he is very dear to me. In the previous verse, that is 7th chapter, 16th verse, Bhagavan Krishna mentioned about 4 types of bhaktas. That is Artha, Jignasu, Artharthi, and Jnani. The Artha prays to Bhagavan, seeking security whenever frightened or whenever in difficulties or distress. The Jignasu. Jnatum Ichuhu. Desirous of knowing. Prays to Bhagavan, trying to know who Bhagavan is, where he is, how he is, etc. The Artharthi.
Kshamyatam Sumaji, if I'm not mistaken, the word is Artha. Means maybe the
Artha.
one who is, maybe, I may be wrong, but I think it is a Artha. Artha, Jignashu,
Jignasu,
Artharthi and Jnana.
Jnana. The Artha prays to Bhagavan, seeking security whenever frightened or whenever in difficulties or distress. The Jignasu, the Jnatum Ichuhu, desirous of knowing, prays to Bhagavan, trying to know who Bhagavan is, where he is, how he is, etc. The Ardharthi prays to Bhagavan, seeking food, clothing, shelter, wealth, power, fame, and a whole lot of physical comforts. Whereas the Jnani always prays to Bhagavan, knowing who he is, how he is, where all he is, what all he is, how loving he is, how he is he, and the like. The Jnani is ever rooted in the living essence of the Mahavakyas. I am Atma Brahma, Mandukya Upanishad. Prajnanam Brahma, Aitreya Upanishad. Sat Tvam Asi, Chandogya Upanishad. Aham Brahmasmi, Brahadaranya Upanishad, and several such other like mantras of the Shastra. The Jnani, without any craving, devoid of the tendency to seek or beg, always revels in the truth of the Upanishad Vakyas. The Jnani, praying to Bhagavan is just as natural to him like breathing, and praying does not waver, neither does it ask for any favor, nor does it ever stop. Whatever the Jnani may be doing, the underlying influence is the sublime thought of Bhagavan. Further, the Jnani's bhakti and prayer does not go jumping from one deity to another. Thus, our experience from the pages of history is that all Mahatmas just simply stuck to one deity throughout their life and were benefited. That is the import of the first line of the verse. The second line of the verse equates, as it were, such a person to a Jnani who loves Bhagavan like he loves himself. That is why Bhagavan is very dear to him, and he also is very dear to Bhagavan. In the succeeding verse, Bhagavan mentioned thus, Jnani tu atma eva me matam. Jnani tu atma eva me matam. Whereas my opinion is that Jnani is indeed I, Bhagavan Ramana, who lived this verse naturally like that. You'll have to raise it a little more.
So the Dwichatvarimshat, verse 24, and from chapter 7, verse 18. Bahunam mante, jnanavan ma prapadyate, Vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma shurlabha.
At the end of many births, the Jnani takes refuge in me, that Mahatma who realizes that all this is Vasudeva is very rare. The Garbhopanishad says that the jiva, when in the womb, suffering of the pangs of prenatal arrest, vows that when once released from the mother's womb, he will devote his entire life to the feet of the Almighty, ever pray to him devotedly, free himself from all attachments, and always soak his mind with the thoughts of the Lord. But at the time of delivery from the womb into this world, he is covered by Maya, and then onwards a new life of ignorance starts. This is because, despite his vows which he made, unable to suffer the pangs of arrest, when in the womb, his mind has not evolved yet to entertain the thoughts of the higher, and the mind is still very dirty. However, birth after birth, he would make incremental progress towards realization of the truth of life, and at the end, finally, of many trying births, he evolves himself as a jnani and takes complete refuge in Bhagavan. Which Bhagavan? Vasudeva Sarvamitam Iti Bhavanena. With the thought, to raise it, with the thought that all this is indeed Vasudeva. And who is Vasudeva? Vyasa Bhagavan beautifully defines Vasudeva in his Vishnu Sahasra Namam thus.
Vasanad Vasudevasya Vasitam Bhuvanatrayam Sarva Bhuta Nivasosi Vasudeva Namostute.
The fragrance of Vasudeva clothes the three worlds, the indweller of all beings. Vasudeva, salutations to you. That kind of a person, a jnani, is indeed difficult to find, is rare. In the earlier verse, that is 17.18, Bhagavan has already qualified the jnani as jnani tu atma eva me mathav. Whereas my opinion is that jnani is indeed atma, I. The import of this verse is that we must strive at all times to unravel the mystery of life, ever inquire into the purpose of our birth, and fruitfully spend our time in the thought and service of the Lord, and in the process, cleanse the mind effectively to shorten the Bahunam Janmas to a few Janmas, and therefore thereafter merge with the Lord. This merger is more like the wave realizing that it is indeed the oceanic water and thus becoming the ocean. The cleaner the mind, the faster the self-realization. Bhagavan Ramana proved this maxim and thus liked it. You'll have to raise this.
So from chapter 8, verse 21, and from Dwichatvarimshat, it is verse 25. अव्यक्तोऽक्षर इत्युक्तः तमाहु परमां गतिं यं प्राप्य न निवर्तन्ते Tadhama paramam mama.
That is said to be unmanifest, indeclinable, and the supreme end, having gained which there is no return. That is my supreme abode. Unmanifest, because it is not available for perception by the senses and the mind intellect equipment. These implements are all products of avidya, ignorance. That which is an effect of avidya cannot cognize the very vidya principle, the knowledge principle, which is Bhagavan. Akshara, indeclinable, like even the space, that which does not undergo any change, does not grow or diminish, is not subject to be influenced by anything whatsoever, is Akshara, indeclinable. That is the origin. That is Sat, for which Abhavaha na vidyate. No non-being. Abhavaha na vidyate. There is no non-being. That is the beginning, the middle, and the end of all our mind can perceive. The intellect can cognize. That was before anything began and will last the last dissolution. That unmanifest and indeclinable state, when one gains, that person is said to have merged with the supreme truth, and that is the Param Dhama, the final abode anyone can aspire. Having gone there, there is no further coming and going. Hence, yam prapya na nivartante. After gaining which does not return. Return where? To the samsara. There is no janma, no mrityu, no boy, no girl, no world, no attachment, no delusion, no avidya. It is all ananda, the supreme bliss. Is it any wonder that this verse was favorite of Bhagavan Ramana?
It is so very important, this. No non-being. Yeah, so the next, anyone would like to repeat or say something, please.
The fact that it cannot be known by the body, mind, senses complex itself is daunting. For I feel that we need to do a lot of cleansing of this body mind complex and come to that state where he says, no, only when you have that unshakable peace is your mind mature enough to go further towards knowing this.
And this feeling of abundance, you feel purna. There is no abhava. You don't feel that something so there is no desire.
Okay.
So next is from Dwichatvarimshat, verse 26, and as told by Brahmaraji, it is the midpoint of the whole Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 22. Ananyashintayanto mam ye janah paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham.
Whoever prays to me, serves me with no other thought. Those who ever revel in the identity with me, I shall secure their yogam and kshemam. Apraptasya prapanam yogam.
अप्राप्तस्य प्राप्तम योगम. जो
Obtaining
मिला
that.
नहीं है उसे देता है. प्राप्तस्य रक्षणम क्षेमम.
Praptasya prapanam yogam. Obtaining that which one does not have is yogam. Praptasya rakshanam kshemam. Protection of that which is obtained is kshemam. Bhagavan's promise is that he will secure and take care of both yogam and kshemam. It is a promise with a superlative condition. Tesham, those who with singular devotion to me, who do not think of anything other than me, who always pray to me and serve me, that is the condition. Ananya chintya. Ananya chinta means no other thought or worry. Anya chinta. In contrast, will be who will take care of me if I keep on always praying to Bhagavan? Who will take care of my dear wife and children? What happens to my family when I perish in the process? How about education of my children? Who will organize their well-being, their security? How about their marriages? Who will organize the property division to the members of my family, and such like thoughts? Our effort must be to have lasting Shraddha in Bhagavan's promise, unflinching devotion to him, and a commitment to constantly pray to him and serve him. Then we need not worry about yogam kshemam, both of which are really the burden of Bhagavan. Are we not free persons then? That is the state to which Bhagavan is driving us for our benefit. Was this not a demonstrated feature of Bhagavan Ramana's life? And would he not love such a verse? To raise this.
So from Dwichatvarimshat verses 27 and 28, and from our Bhagavad Gita chapter 10 verse 10 and 11. Tesham satatayuktanam bhajatam priti-purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. तेषामेवानुकम्पार्थम् अहं ज्ञानजं तमः नाशयाम्यात्मभावस्थो ज्ञानदीपेन भास्वता.
To the steadfast devotees who always pray to me with love, I shall bestow jnanam to enable them to attain me. Wow. One of compassion for them, out of compassion for them, I shall shine the light of knowledge in their minds to destroy the darkness born out of ignorance. Jnanam, knowledge, is necessary to annihilate avidya or ignorance, which has been bothering us, nay, binding us for the bahunam janmas, many births. This jnanam must be resplendent like even the effulgent sun who banishes the darkness totally, to destroy the false notions that we inherited for ages, the doubts that we are so fond of entertaining, the false identifications that we have been cherishing all along, the silly sentiments that we so lovingly care and carry. In short, the jnanam must be unalloyed, then only avidya, the cause of our miserable existence, takes to flight. Bhagavan, through these two verses, has undertaken to accomplish for our sake the two things. One, he will bestow jnanam to us and enable us to attain him. Secondly, he will ensure that this jnanam takes place in us properly by exposing our minds to the brilliance of the light of jnanam. What a concern and what compassion. All this he has promised for our hitam, for our benefit. However, this jnanam is not free. It shall be, as it were, bought from Bhagavan with supreme devotion, prayer, love to him. The Jagat Guru Bhagavan knows what we lack and what we want. He is prepared to give all that to us. He wants to ensure that he will not bestow this treasure on undeserving persons. That is why the conditions laid down, which are to come kartum, very easy to do, provided we have the burning desire for freedom, mumukshatvam, commitment for it, and a will to put it in persistent effort towards the desired objective. Such a Mahatma was Bhagavan Ramana, on whom Bhagavan's kripa flowed in abundance and who naturally liked the above couplet of verses.
So next verse from Dwichatvarimshat, verse 29, and from chapter 10, verse 20. Ahamatma gudakesh sarvabhutashaya stitah ahamadirshcha madhyam cha bhutanamanta eva cha.
O Gudakesha, I am Atma and reside in all beings. I am the very beginning, middle, and end of all beings. Arjuna was addressed enhancing his self-image as Gudakesha, which means one who has a degree of mastery over the sense organs. This also means one who has a mastery over sleep. This verse is in response to Arjuna's query as to in what all he could see Bhagavan and what all are his glories. In one shot, Bhagavan said that he is everywhere and that he is not only Atma but obtains in everything and in every being as Atma. That means what all we see is Atma. What all we see is Bhagavan. There is no other. We are devoted. We are devoted to Bhagavan. Then why do we have likes and dislikes in respect of persons that we come across? Are they not Bhagavans? Then where is the division? Vibhakti. When we pray to him, it is with bhakti, devotion, or at least required to be with bhakti. How then has this vibhakti caught hold of us? That is because we take what is said in the Gita as a bit of information, not as an injunction for our good. Readers of the Gita, even after understanding this verse, if they constantly practice vibhakti, then they might as well give up the Gita for good and read some miserable newspaper which gives a lot of more information. In order to inculcate the requisite Shraddha and Bhakti in us, there are some beautiful invocatory verses to the Gita, one of which reads thus. Mukam karoti vachalam pankum lankayate girim yat kripatamaham vande paramananda madhavam. I salute the embodiment of happiness, Madhava, whose kripa makes the dumb eloquent and the lame cross a mountain. Bhagavan further said that he is the Jagat Karanam, Aham Adishcha Adishcha Madhyam Cha Bhutanam Anta Evacha, that he is the sustainer, also the Layakaraka, the cause of dissolution. When Bhagavan is saying that he is the very beginning, middle, and end of being, then where is the difference in the beings? Why do all of us see this vibhakti? Where is the need for hatred, malice, jealousy, anger? Why is the attachment only to some? Why not get attached to all and enjoy the happiness born out of this equanimity? Why not live happily thereafter? The reason is that we are not yet qualified for that task. The need is Shraddha, together with a pure mind and a discerning intellect. We must take refuge at the feet of Jivan Muktas, like Bhagavan Ramana, to whom the verse 29, chapter 10, shloka 20 was very dear.
Yeah,
So nice.
very beautiful, no? The previous verse.
Yeah, and
Every-
we are very lucky because we've got a Jivan Mukta as our guru.
Mhm.
So even I don't know how much cleansing is possible in this lifetime, but at least we have made a beginning. So that's very nice. Though I would like to get complete freedom.
Yes, everyone.
Mm.
बहुना जन्म बहुत हो गया.
Mm.
Anyone would
Next.
like to share, because this is very, very beautiful verse. Nanaji had in the last class only, had explained this beautifully when I asked him about Eka Bhakti.
See everything, no?
As
When a
one, yeah.
thought comes, take it as that thought is also Bhagavan.
Hmm.
Bhagavan is leading me to that.
Just show that
Bhakti.
29 verse, no? Just scroll it down and show, no? Verse number
Yeah.
29.
Yeah. Yeah. Aham Kesha Bhutasthya Astitaha Aham Adisha Cha Bhutanam Anta Evacha. So that Samapyam can be felt only when you see that oneness in everything. everything around you. It is not just Atma. That's what here it is so beautifully explained. He is not only Atma, but he is the very existence. Whatever we perceive, whatever we see around us. So everything is him. So beautiful.
And
Yeah, anyone would like to share?
and
Yeah.
we get, and when we take this as a piece of information, it is of no use. So it says we have to make it as an injunction in our life. So that is where our effort goes, should go.
Correct.
Jai Gurudev, there's a line written, no, that the reason why we are not yet qualified for the task, that we do not feel that equanimity with everyone, that is the first of all, is that lack of Shraddha is there. So until unless that Shraddha is developed, you cannot have that equanimity feeling. The prerequisite is Shraddha.
Correct. Yeah. We continue to doubt about the Yogakshema, what will happen, how we will, about the future, and continue to worry. He is so much assuring here that I am ready to take care of whatever you don't have, and whatever you have, even the protection I will take care of. But still we
Provided you
don't
have that
Shraddha
devotion to
and
me.
bhakti. And devotion. Yeah, that is a. And samabhavana, sarvabhutastha samabhavana, that you see them, everything as me.
But still, why do we worry? We surrender and we think we have devotion
lack
and
of
Shraddha.
Shraddha is there, you know.
Yeah, but still
Because
that
of
is
lack
very
of
true,
Shraddha.
Sumaji. We still worry. I mean, not that much as before,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
still
correct.
momentary shaking comes.
True. Very
But
true.
it's fortunately we come back to the center. It is really grace of Gurudev that we come back to the center, and
The intensity of worry has decreased, and also the frequency of the worries disturbing us has also decreased.
Yeah. And some knowledge has also come in, I think. We are able to.
Because of knowledge only,
some
we are
knowledge.
able to overcome these worries,
Yeah.
no?
Yeah.
that avarana has started diminishing, I believe.
Mm.
That
Yeah, the
avarana,
Shraddha has
ajnan ka.
some more of Shraddha is there, then we are not the doer. We are always like, the thought also is not ours, no? Sometimes it happens that you want to do, but still you can't do. Like I was planning to go to my mother's place for 2 days, but it happened so that guests came and still they are here. So I'm hoping that maybe next week I would be able to go. So it doesn't have nothing in your hand. It only the thought you have, and then it disappears. So what is to be happened will happen.
Swami Swarupananji had told once that whatever happens, just have that faith, it will happen for the best for you.
But then a little bit of fear comes whether we'll become a bit slack or we get a bit laid back and we don't get something that we thought we will get, and then go back and blame, oh, because you got laid back. Sometimes that I go through that also. So I'm a bit, I don't know how much to hold and how much to let go.
Let go of everything.
हमारा है क्या जो हम पकड़ के रखे?
They say
And-
na, you come empty-handed, you'll go empty-handed. So nothing to hold.
So whatever comes that is what you are destined to have. And that is good.
That is for every situation is for your own benefit. When you analyze, you will see that it is either like any situation, it is either for you to learn something, or maybe it is that situation which is because of your that desire you had, that you landed in that situation. So is it either it is made by oneself, or it is uh, created by Bhagwan for you to learn something? It is either way. Yeah.
So beautiful. This very important Shraddha Bhakti and the refuge at the feet of even Muktas.
Mm.
The next
Shraddha
shloka is
Bhakti.
also related with this only. Bhaktya Tvananya Shakya Aham. Next.
Would you
verse
like to
30.
read, Savita, because yours is also
No,
very
like
nice.
in English, it's very difficult, you know. When Sanskrit comes, you easily chant it.
Transliteration is little
Yeah,
difficult.
it makes your pronunciation bad because in routine we don't read in English, no. So sometimes your pronunciations doesn't go well. You chant, Belaji. You chant so beautiful.
So from Dwichatvarimshat, verse 30, and from chapter 11, verse 54. Bhaktya tvananyaya shakya ahamevam vidhorjuna jnatum drashtum cha tatvena praveshtum cha parantapa.
Arjuna, with unflinching devotion, it is possible to know me thus. See and in essence enter. Wow. So unflinching devotion. This verse talks of both bhakti and jnanam, thus perhaps indicating that the difference between unadulterated bhakti and jnanam is either only apparent or very little. Bhagavan said thus in the first line of the verse, it is possible through ananya, meaning avyabhicharini. Avyabhicharini. No other non-wavering bhakti I can be thus. In the second line of the verse, known, seen, and really entered into. Oh, Parantapa. Param. Shatrun tapayati. The scorcher of foes. So this is very nice, no? That you can be seen, known, and really entered into. That Bhagavan can be known, seen, and entered, really entered into with that bhakti, unflinching devotion. Really, we should do, as Brahmaraji said, we should do Bhagavatam.
Yes,
Again
really.
and again. Again and again, Bhagavatam. At least somehow some bhakti will come to us. That unflinching bhakti. A little bit of it will rub into us. I can be thus known means that the Virat Swarupam of Bhagavan till then shown to Arjuna upon his request. This form has clearly shown that Bhagavan is Sarvagataha, everywhere. Sarva Antaryami, the indweller of everyone. And Sarva Shaktiman, all powerful. Virat Swarupam has shown to Arjuna the entire universe with all that would happen in the universe, like Sarga. Sarga, creation, Sthiti, sustenance, and Layam, dissolution. Bhagavan had also shown to Arjuna what would happen in the war. All the principal warriors of both the armies were struggling in between the teeth of Bhagavan. So many worlds were shown together with all their inhabitants, like the Devas, Siddhas, Sadhyas, Rakshasas, Kinnaras, etc. But Arjuna did not see himself in the Virat. Thus, there was a division in Arjuna's mind, himself and what he saw in Bhagavan. Dvaitat bhayam bhavati. In the presence of vibhakti, division, fear happens, and Arjuna was frightened. The Taittiriya Upanishad says, Uddaratmanantaram kurute adatasya bhayam bhavati. Please read this properly.
Yeah, I think you read correctly. Dvaitat bhayam bhavati. Here, Dvaitat bhayam bhavati. And udaram anantaram kurute adha tasya bhayam bhavati.
Bhayam bhavati. Meaning, whoever sees even the slightest difference in what is perceived. What all we see is indeed Atma. Then that person is smitten by fear. So even if there's a slightest difference, there is fear. The same Upanishad proclaims that whenever an aspirant gets established in this unperceivable, bodiless, inexpressible Brahman, then that person becomes fearless. Ada tasya bhayam gato bhavati. But Arjuna was overtaken with fear owing to lack of appreciation of Atma. It is clear thus that Arjuna and all of us required this all-inclusive jnanam, and that is why Bhagavan mentioned it along with bhakti. This is yet another verse liked by Bhagavan Ramana, for whom Bhayam was a stranger.
So even the minute Dvaita Bhav will take away our peace.
And also, like, if knowledge is not there, then I think bhakti will also not develop. That is why Bhagavan Ramana has mentioned it along with bhakti. The jnanam is essential. Then only the bhakti will be there.
Yeah.
And
It
also
will follow,
grace,
it will follow.
grace of Guru and Bhagavan is also required for that bhakti and shraddha, the grace required.
Yeah. And grace we incur after doing the punya karmas, no? Like in a lifetime, if we are doing the sattvic karmas, then we are incurring his grace, maybe this lifetime or in the later lifetime. So it depends again on our pravarti, like the three gunas, which is more prominent, with which that will guide you in your whole life, which is like more of sattvic, then you will naturally do more of the positive activities, positive mind you will have, and then you will incur the grace of the Bhagwan. Like it is also interrelated, no?
Yeah.
Everything is so interrelated. So
Because
karam pradhan, karam is the mainstay.
yeah,
That is
because
why
it
the
is with
third
knowledge
chapter
you can remove ignorance.
yeah.
And when there is no ignorance, your karmas are good. So knowledge is coming there also.
Yeah.
Otherwise, in
So,
ignorance, we do only karmas that will give us more karma. So we need to apply this knowledge to cut the karmas.
yeah, that is why chapter 3 Karma Yoga is so important, and it is given initially. So first
Yeah.
of all, you have to do good
Grahastha.
karmas, and
Yeah.
non-doership, everything like what is mentioned.
Mm. I wish all this was taught in schools properly.
Yeah,
By the time we are,
that is what I keep thinking. Why this knowledge is not available so easily
Mm.
to the population? Like it could be in the school, in the homes, like, and not in every house it has. So it is, maybe it is the effect of Kali Yuga that is there.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So we can't really blame
This
anybody,
is
but
a
feel
very good
grateful we
idea.
got it now. Pardon? Can't hear
Yeah,
you.
this week, yes,
Because
yesterday till
we
yesterday was
celebrated, no?
Sanskrit week.
Now when we read it,
Madhuri, your voice is breaking, my dear. Am I the only one who feels that?
No, her voice is breaking.
Yeah.
Madhuriji, can you hear us? We cannot hear you. Till yesterday, it was Sanskrit week we celebrated till yesterday, till 1st September. And this was like we all took the oath that it has to be प्रसारणम इतना होना चाहिए कि every family should have that. संस्कृत से संस्कृति आएगी शायद. And Bhagavad
To
Gita
inculcate
Pathanam.
the language in introduction is there, but it is not in every school. Like when we studied, we had Sanskrit till 8th class. So, but now it is not essential to take Sanskrit. You have choice: French, German, Spanish. These
Actually, we
languages.
should not introduce foreign languages in our schools because Hindi, Sanskrit, and all is not taught outside. So I don't know why we are going after French and German and Japanese.
No, we
instead.
are mistaken, Sumaji. In Britain, I think in Britain, there is one, before our pre-independence, they have Sanskrit school right from nursery, Sanskrit medium only.
Yeah, but that is only one. Like in Australia also,
Yeah.
we have a Sanskrit school, only
I
white
think
children
in
go.
every country, even in Germany, like that, in every place, we do not have, although we are the pioneer, we do not
Yeah,
have any such school where from nursery till we do
correct.
not have, except Gurukulas.
Mm. I
Madhuri
didn't
ji,
even have Hindi and I didn't even have Hindi. So I had Tamil as my medium of instruction. So I find it so difficult to read Hindi, where to break and all that. I still haven't made an attempt to learn that. So
no,
it's
but
so
it is
difficult.
scientifically in our DNA, Hindi and Sanskrit. You can easily, it is at any age, it is not difficult.
I follow, but I am not able to. Of course, I haven't made that attempt also to sit and learn it. So anyway, what to do?
Yeah, I got disconnected in between.
Got it now.
But one thing I wanted to mention here, that we do that thread ceremony, no, at the age of 7+ or something. So that has become a fashion to do that thread ceremony, but without the depth of the knowledge. Actually, because the parents, they themselves, all tamjam and show off, and so big function they do for thread ceremony for the son. But the real essence is missing there. They give the mantra of Gayatri mantra, but yeah, you are Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi Tattvamasi. These are the things which to be inculcated, so that in that direction, some seeds have been sown in the soul at such a tender age. वो होता ही नहीं है क्योंकि parents को ही नहीं मालूम. That is a very pathetic this thing I feel. So in spite of having everything, the whole ocean of knowledge, and we are crying for small some drops of water. Painful it is actually. Jai Gurudev.
We are taught a lot of unnecessary things in school. What is necessary for living is not given importance.
Jai Gurudev, have you finished verse 31?
No, we
I
have to
think
go for.
no. We are in chapter 12. Still previous. You have to go little before, a page before.
One shloka left, verse 31.
31
Yeah,
is left,
here,
right?
here, here. We are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So shall we continue?
yes.
Yasmano dvijate loko, lokano dvijate chayaha, harsha marsha bhayo dvegaihi, mukto yassa cha me priyaha. By Suma, I can continue. Huh? By whoever people do not get agitated, whoever is not agitated by people, whoever is free from elation, impatience, fear, and excitement, such a person is dear to me. Starting from the 13th verse of this chapter till almost the end, that is the 19th verse, Bhagavan spelt out the lakshanas, characteristics of the bhakta. Sorry, this one is from the verse 31 is from chapter 12, 15th verse. So chapter 12 from 13th to 19th are the characteristics and lakshanas of the bhakta. In this verse, a quiescent bhakta is presented. The lakshanas are those of a jnani. If we want to be in the august company of the dear ones to Bhagavan, we must strive to live this verse. Do not trouble the world and do not get troubled by the world. I think this has to be underlined. Like Gurudev says, don't entangle and don't get entangled. Do not trouble the world and do not get troubled by the world. Get rid of the propensity for elation, impatience, fear, and excitement. It seems easy to appreciate what is said, but how about an effort to live this? To acquire those qualities, a lot of effort, discipline, and perseverance are needed. Endowed with these, an unshakable commitment and devotion to the Lord, it is indeed possible to render oneself dear to Bhagavan. So one is to understand that these are required in order to be dear to Bhagavan, to get the lakshanas of the Jnani. That is, do not trouble the world, do not get trouble, and get rid of the propensity for elation, impatience, fear, and excitement. That thing is there. Anudvega karam vakyam, satyam priyam hitam chayaha. It seems easy to appreciate what is said, but how do we live it? That requires an effort. And for that effort, what is required is an unshakable commitment and devotion to the Lord. It is indeed possible to render oneself dear to Bhagavan. That is how Bhagavan Ramana conducted himself in his mortal coil to become dear to Bhagavan, and the verse became dear to him. In this context, I would like to share that Gurudev mentioned, I was just watching one of his snippets yesterday. He says, don't put yourself down, as in say, oh, I'm always an angry person or I'm an impatient person. You are sowing those seeds in the universe. Instead, you should talk about the others. Everything is fine. I am good. I am pure. So those things, if we put, then those are what will manifest. And he says very emphatically, he says, whatever, however the past has been, let go of that. The problem is we hold on to that and then we judge our present with that film of the past, which is why we get into all kinds of troubles. We trouble the world and also we get troubled by the world. Every moment should be like Nava, like living in the moment. Then we will not be caught up by the past, because most often if you look at anger, the source of anger, it is a desire, and it is something that we are always upset about, something that already happened. So if that we are able to sever, then we let go of that anger. It will not harm, it will not get to us. So along with that, we need to have unshakable commitment. And in the previous verse, in chapter 6, he says, no, Shanaihi Shanaihi Ruparame. Very slowly, gradually, gently, treating your mind like a child. Buddhya Dhriti Grihitaya, with that commitment, that steadfastness of the intellect. Surely and certainly, you have to kind of, like if you have a net, which you've got a very soft, thin cloth, which is caught up in thorns, how carefully you remove that cloth, little by little, so it doesn't get torn. Similarly, that carefully we have to lead our mind by the intellect. This is easier said than done. So what is required is an effort to live this. Discipline is required for that, and perseverance. Thus,
No, I just wanted to say that in spite of the knowledge, this momentary anger or momentary worry, it definitely bothers. But it is really, we are grateful to you that we are in this knowledge and we come back to that center. But it happens, still it happens.
Yeah.
That momentary anger, momentary worry, and it takes the toll.
I think
So
that is
that time we should forgive ourselves, or we should introspect.
Yeah, that is fine. You can do a bit of introspection, but if you hold on to that, then you will end up, first you're angry, and then you're angry at yourself, angry at others, and then you're angry at yourself. or you're guilty. You start feeling, you start saying, oh, why did I get angry? So that is why I think we learn from that and move on and not label ourselves. The problem is we label ourselves. Oh, I'm always worrying, or I'm always angry, I'm always impatient. So all those things are momentary. You are much bigger than that. I mean, I regarding anger, there was this video that I shared yesterday in the group. Gurudev gives a 10-point program, 10 points how you can deal with your anger, how you can. So similarly, I think all that, if we can put into practice, remember that and put it to practice, then of course we were not as, like we were all discussing, we are not as worrying as we were before. So it's getting diluted, it's getting less and less. So
Very
with that
true.
implicit faith, that is important, that I'm doing the right thing. If I hold on to Bhagwan, I hold on to this knowledge, I am certainly going to reach the goal. That is the implicit faith in the words of the Shastra and the words of the Guru. And then with commitment, that discipline, steadfastness. It's not like one day, a few days we do and then we let go. Oh, it's always like this. And no matter how much I do, it's going to be not giving up. That not giving up nature, that steadfast, that dhriti should be there. And then surely, the grace of the Lord, grace of Bhagavan, he says, no, Anukam Partham, Aham Ajnanajam Tama. He will take care of it.
So beautiful. Dhanyavad.
Another quick method to come out of this when you're shaken, I tried this, is to go and watch some YouTube satsangs, ashram satsangs. Within 1 or 2 songs, your that disturbed emotion goes away. And you don't feel guilty or angry or sad or whatever you experienced. It's quickly goes away. But this is where I had the doubt whether I'm fooling myself by saying, okay, now I'm out of that emotion, but have I learned any lesson? How to avoid that in future? I still have to work on that.
For that, self-inquiry is important. Unless you inquire, what was the cause? Why did I get angry? Or why did I get impatient? Or why did that actually happen? When you look at the root cause, then you understand, like yesterday we read, the root cause of all of misery is karma, is desire. There is some sankalpa, there is some thought that comes in, or you see, you hear, and then that sankalpa fructifies, it solidifies into, concretizes into a desire. And when there is any obstruction to fulfilling that desire, that leads to anger and all that negative spiral. So when we understand and inquire into why did we get whatever negative emotion we went through, then there is an every possibility that supposing such a thing happens next time, you are better prepared to go through it without going through that negative emotion. Without that, just an escape. There's no doubt. I mean, listening to satsang is beautiful. It'll of course take you on to a different state of mind. But like you very rightly said, are we dealing with the root cause? Are we rooting out the whole thing? So for that, in self-inquiry is very, very essential.
Yeah, this is very true. You know, when you go to the cause, why I am getting bad feeling or anger, why is it there? So when you inquire, you literally evolve yourself for the next situation. Next time you will not be in that situation because you have already worked up on your mind, and you accept the situation as it is. You know, you accept that person which is the cause of anger he is like this. So why I am reacting? It is not his fault. It is my fault that I am reacting like this. He is as he is, but it is my reactions to it that I am reacting it that way. So I have to improve. I can't improve a second person, or I have no say to anyone, because everyone is acting according to their own prakriti. So we cannot improve them. And by repeatedly saying, nobody listens, not even a child. So it is all that we have to see why, what situation, what uh, uh, s- uh, like sentence or anything which made you in a bad mood. So we just think it over and let it go. I initially, like in my very young age, I was very used to get angry with very little things. But as as the evolution is going on, I seldom get angry. It's like once a while it comes, otherwise I don't get angry at all. So it was how I related to my past and how I'm relating now. So much of difference has come, because one thing more, that anger takes away your punya also. So why to lose your punya over some other person that you get angry? Krodha is said to be very bad in the spiritual life. So you should not be in a krodha state. Yeah.
Beautiful. They are supposed to be, Kama and Krodha are supposed to be the gates of hell.
The krodha and the criticism is said to be very bad. It takes away all your punya. It is said so. And the best, which like Dr. Brahmraj said, inquiry is the best. In that way, you will improve yourself. If you just shift your mind and you watch a movie, or you go out, or that is just your, you are holding the dam, and someday it will burst. It would be like this. Feelings keeps on accumulating, no? And one day it will have a burst. So it's better that you let them release from your mind. That way you will not harm yourself also, and it would be much easier when you let it go. Let go of people and these situations.
And also it is basic. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's carry on. It's not that momentarily you have, but you just have that, just shift your mind. It happens. If you practice, it happens. Because I worked up it like this, and how it was not that I was forcing myself, but as in this journey, it happened slowly. I also did not come to know. It is only when we were discussing with my friends. So then I realized I don't get angry very soon. That initially what I was, I am not now. So it happened. It happened all by self. Like, I don't know, but it happened. I don't know when it happened, but it happened. So everyone can leave the anger part. Yeah, carry on, Dr. Brahma.
Thank you.
And it is also about taking responsibility, for our feelings, and not put the blame on XYZ. If you got angry, or you are worrying, or you are sad, it is because of how you have perceived whatever has happened, that situation. So we are putting the blame on the situation or the person, but actually speaking, you are responsible for everything. So when the whole equation again points down to you, you will have to do the homework. And that homework is it's like whitewashing it. If you have some dirt and you're just whitewashing it, it's like listening to some satsang song or doing some chanting is like whitewashing it, but that black spot remains. In order for you to root it out completely and have a clean white wall, you have to look within and look at the source of all of this.
I did find the cause for it, but
Mm.
only after the event had passed.
Yeah, that is
And
inevitable.
my thing is, when a situation like this presents again in a different form, will I have learned? That is the thing.
Mm. Yeah, if you've done your homework, of course you would have learned, and you will not repeat the same thing again. It will become lesser. It may not completely disappear. Maybe the intensity will be less. And in due course of time, as you keep practicing it, that requires that effort and that discipline. So when you do that, then eventually it will disappear. I used to be a perfectionist. I still am in some ways. But I can see from how it was earlier when my children were younger to what it is now, I'm able to accept a lot more so-called inverted commas imperfection. It is all a perception, it's relative, isn't it? So that way my acceptance of things around has certainly improved over time. So the same thing will hold good with everything else. So thus ends the second Shatka, the 6 chapters of the Gita. That is the part 3 of Dwichatvarimshat. Then the message of part 4, verses 32-33. These are from chapter 13, the second and the third verse. Second and the third verse of 13 is considering that the first verse was Arjuna Vacha. Idam Shari, this is what Bhagavan is saying. Idam Shariram Kaunteya Kshetramityabhidiyate Etadyo Veti Tam Prahuhu Kshetrajna iti Tatvidaha. O Kaunteya, the Shariram is said to be Kshetram. The knower of this is said to be Kshetrajna by those who know Tat Kshetram. Chapter 13, third verse. Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata kshetrajnayor jnanam yatta jnanam matam mama. O Bharata, know me to be the kshetrajna in all the kshetras. My opinion is jnanam is that which knows kshetra and kshetrajna. Arjuna wanted to know, that is the first verse of 13, the import of 6 terms. These are Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetram, Kshetrajna, Jnanam, and Jneyam. Among these, Prakriti and Kshetram are synonymous. And so too are Purusha and Kshetrajna. Bhagavan in this chapter starts his teaching with Kshetram, mentions a Mahavakya, and gives the gist of Jnanam through verse 3, covers Jnanam and Jneyam elaborately, and finally winds up with Kshetrajna. In verses, the second and the third verse of chapter 13, we have a couplet of shlokas in both of which the terms Kshetram and Kshetrajna are embedded as though they are mutually complementary terms. Because Bhagavan said idam shariram, this body, in the second verse, we have to provisionally though take it as the human body, which is considered to be khalu dharma sadhanam, the very means for all dharmas. As per the Shastra, it is only through the human body that self-realization can be attained. This is for whom? Is it not for the indweller of the kshetra, the very jiva? This self-realization for the ignorant jiva is nothing but the rediscovery that the jiva indeed is the kshetrajna. And this is possible by proper deployment of the implement, the body, the idam shariram, for accomplishment of the desired objective. That is the attainment of kshetrajna. In the second line of this verse, Bhagavan deftly portrays that the knower of this kshetram is kshetrajna. Thus, say the tatvidaha. One meaning would be, in this context, the knowers of kshetram, and another meaning perhaps can be the knowers of tat, sat, in the Mahavakya, Tattvam Asi. Bhagavan, through verses 6 and 7 of 13th chapter, elaborates the constituents of kshetram, all of which are the products of Maya or Prakriti, and as such, Asat. The above two verses lead us to the meaning of Idam Shariram, the microcosm, as indeed Idam Jagat, the macrocosm, or the entire universe, which includes the bodies of you, I, and all other bodies too. Essentially, there are only three things: Idam, Jiva, and Ishvara, or Idam Jagat, Tvam Jiva, and Tat Ishvara. Thus, the three things can be said to be Jagat, Jiva, and Ishvara, or simply Jagat, Tvam, and Tat. But as per the Shastra and the Gita, the Jagat is Asat. That is second chapter, the 16th verse. Further, the Gita, especially the third Shatka, teaches the identity of Tvam and Tat. For example, see verses the 18th of chapter 7 and 3rd of chapter 3. Thus, if we dismiss the Idam Jagat, dismiss the Idam, the Jagat, that is Jagat, which includes our Shariram, as Asat, and equate Tvam with Tat, then we will be left with only the Jiva, which is none other than Ishvara. The process of neti bhavana, not this sequence of negating what all we are not, properly thinking and assimilating such knowledge would help understanding who we really are. And this indeed is the propellant for self-inquiry. So how do we do this self-inquiry? Is first, one thing is neti bhavana. I am not the mind, I am not the body, I am not the intellect, I am not the ego, I am the self. That is the neti bhavana. Properly thinking and assimilating such knowledge would help understanding who we really are. And this indeed is the propellant for self-inquiry. So there are two aspects here. One is when you're dealing with the world outside, you have to be practical. So you need to deal with people's real, so-called real situations and people. You cannot dare say neti. Then you will not be able to function, right? So in the world outside, I think what we hold on to is karma yoga. You do what is to be done, do it properly, 100%, putting all your efforts on the task at hand, and not keeping your not being feverish about the results. And whatever result you get, you accept it with a smile. That is practicing karma yoga in the world outside. But when you're doing your sadhana, you're doing your meditation, you're in the the marga of Shreyas, when you're doing your self-inquiry, there you use the neti bhavana. Isn't it? Otherwise, if you're using neti in the world outside, when you're dealing with people, then you might not function as well as you're supposed to. Which is why we deal with people outside with the head and not with the heart. When you're dealing with business, you're doing your work, you do not function from your heart. But when you're doing your practices, your meditation, there you let go of the head and then let go of everything else also, all the identities. That is why we have that 3 mantra formula, that when you sit for meditation, I want nothing, I do nothing, and I am nothing. So you come to that state of complete dispassion when you meditate. I think we'll stop here. If anyone wants to share anything before we close, we'll continue this. This is 32nd and 33rd verse, I think. Yeah. Jai Gurudev. Om Loka Samasta Sukhinu Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.